Could Selena Gomez and Blanco's seemingly perfect love story be about to crash and burn? You know, when we look at their relationship, it's been fascinating, almost like a modern-day fairy tale at first. Fans adored every moment, every smile, every cute Instagram post. But lately, there's been a growing sense that all that magic might be fading. If you pay attention to the whispers, the subtle hints, and some behind-the-scenes details, it's starting to feel like their love story might be closer to an ending than anyone expected. From the start, their relationship had its complexities. They first met when Selena was just a teenager, and at that time, romance wasn't even on the table. Years later, when they reunited, it seemed perfect. The media painted this picture of an ideal couple, Selena shining in the spotlight and Benny quietly supporting her from the background. But if you look closer, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. Their dynamic was always a bit off balance. Selena deeply involved and emotionally expressive, while Benny stayed more reserved. That's not a bad thing in itself, but over time, it might have created distance instead of connection. Even leading up to their wedding, fans and insiders started noticing cracks. Selena is meticulous. She likes to be involved in every detail, planning every step carefully. Benny, on the other hand, seemed either hands-off or overwhelmed. It may sound minor, but in relationships, especially high-profile ones, small differences like this can grow into tension. And when the whole world is watching, even little disagreements can feel enormous. Their pre-wedding celebrations also raised eyebrows. Selena's bachelorette in Cabo looked fun on Instagram, but sources say there were subtle moments where she seemed stressed or burdened with more than just party planning. Benny's bachelor party in Vegas, while flashy on the surface, reportedly didn't feel connected to Selena's celebration, almost like they were living parallel experiences rather than a shared one. Fans may have missed it at first, but in reality, these separate celebrations could reflect emotional distance building behind the scenes. Friend dynamics have also reportedly played a role. Selena's friendships have shifted, and some people close to her weren't fully supportive of Benny. That can create stress in a relationship, especially when those close circles clash. Some insiders even suggest there were arguments over guest lists or wedding details, which, while seemingly small, can point to larger disagreements about priorities and expectations. Selena's career is another factor. She's incredibly independent, balancing music, acting, and advocacy work, while Benny has mostly stayed behind the scenes. That contrast, once charming, may now highlight differences in ambition, lifestyle, and attention. Rumors suggest that the focus on Selena's career could be creating subtle distance or even feelings of being overshadowed for Benny. Combine that with the constant media attention and public scrutiny, and it's easy to see how strain could build quietly over time. Even their music, which once symbolized their connection, has become a talking point. Songs they worked on together were celebrated as proof of chemistry, but now critics and fans wonder if the collaborations were more about public image than actual harmony. That makes you think, what happens when a relationship becomes performative for the world rather than nurturing for the couple? Sometimes the pressure to look perfect is stronger than the love itself. The wedding, of course, was supposed to be the ultimate celebration, but insiders hint that it may have revealed more tension than unity. Planning such a high-profile event is already stressful, but reports suggest disagreements persisted over even minor details. What should have been joyous may have instead highlighted differences in personality, vision, and emotional connection. When the public sees only the glamour, it's easy to miss what's happening behind closed doors. Selena's public statements have also shifted subtly. Where she once sounded excited and confident about their future, there are now moments where her tone feels guarded, careful, or even stressed. Benny, being quieter in private, hasn't clarified much publicly, leaving fans to read between the lines. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words, especially when both partners are under a microscope. Even small daily details like caring for their pets have started being interpreted as signs of disconnection. Every little action is analyzed, and online speculation can turn minor moments into supposed evidence of trouble. Patterns begin to form in public perception whether or not they reflect reality, and for high-profile couples like Selena and Benny, perception can feel like reality. A big part of their story is contrast. Selena is outgoing, highly involved in social and creative projects, while Benny is quieter, private, and less publicly ambitious. At first, this difference was appealing, a balance, but over time, sources suggest it may have contributed to misunderstandings and emotional strain. Relationships thrive on shared vision, mutual support, and aligned energy. When those elements slowly misalign, even subtle tension can grow into bigger problems. There are also reports of arguments, moments where one felt unheard or unsupported, and even speculation that both may have sought emotional fulfillment outside the relationship. While nothing is confirmed, insiders hint that both have been dealing with frustration and stress behind closed doors. Publicly, they appear perfect, but privately, there may be growing distance and miscommunication. Timing has always been a part of their story too. Meeting as teens, waiting years to reconnect, it added drama, intensity, and high expectations, but maybe those expectations are impossible to maintain. The public pressure, combined with two strong, ambitious personalities, might be straining the relationship. Fans are noticing subtle changes in their behavior, social media posts, and public interactions, which may indicate emotional disengagement. Even with lavish pre-wedding events and carefully curated appearances, it seems the chemistry fans adored might be fading. What was once excitement and confidence now shows hints of stress and emotional fatigue. Friends, careers, personalities, and constant public scrutiny all play a role. Signs suggest that the end of Selena and Benny's love story may be approaching quietly before anyone fully realizes. Ultimately, what looked like a fairy tale romance might be more complicated than it seemed. From distant bachelor and bachelorette parties to subtle disagreements in wedding planning, public statements, and private tensions, the relationship may be struggling under pressure. Even the most glamorous, seemingly perfect relationships can face real challenges when the world is watching every move. Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco's story, once celebrated for timing and chemistry, may now serve as a reminder that love isn't always enough. The cracks behind the public smiles, the subtle signs of disconnection, and the constant scrutiny could mean that their relationship is approaching its end. What fans hoped would last forever may instead be a cautionary tale of how fame, expectations, and differences can quietly erode even the most celebrated romances. In the end, we may all have to accept that the love story of Selena and Benny, admired by so many, could be reaching a turning point, and the world will be watching every step as it unfolds.